Hi y'all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about trying new makeup, talking about new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoyed today's video, hitting the like button. Today, guys, we are going to be doing my mid-year declutter. It's a little bit late. I usually do this around June or July, but I was kind of dragging my feet a bit. And then the other day, I was just like, let's just get it done, Amira. Let's just go through the collection and let's pull what we are no longer using and what no longer serves us in our makeup collection. And let me tell you, I pulled far more than I was expecting to pull from my collection this time around, guys. Usually with my mid-year declutter, it's more of a nice little refresh and I just kind of move a few things out. But I actually, this basket, this pile of makeup is actually quite astonishing, but I have to say I feel really good about it. So let me pull it up, put it up here on the table. It's quite heavy, and let's go through it and I will talk you through and maybe even swatch a little bit why I'm getting rid of these products. Do you see? It's a lot. It's a lot. And I know you're seeing things in here and you're like, what? Girl, who? Girl, why? Yeah, I'm going through a moment, guys, where I'm just sort of like, part of me is a little bit bored with my makeup collection, I'm not gonna lie. And usually for me, one of the things that helps me to feel excited about my makeup collection again is actually doing a declutter. Because by removing the things that are in the way of you seeing the things that excite you, it just feels like it feels like a new collection. It really can feel like that. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And doing this declutter actually did make me quite excited about my makeup because I noticed that I had like open drawers, like empty drawers, and I had, you know, specifically with my foundations, I'm going through a renaissance with my foundations, and I'm sort of getting rid of things, that formulations that I don't really love, or because my tastes have changed. So it's been an exciting moment for me. But let me go through everything with you, and it's a lot. So we're going to be here a while. Grab a snack, grab a drink. Let's do this. Okay, gang. I know you saw some palettes come out that you're like, girl, what? Yes, it's happening. It's happening. It has to happen. So first up, let's start off with this one. I did a video I want to say maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months, it may have been 2 months, where I talked about makeup that was on the chopping block. Makeup that like I've held on to, but it's like, why am I holding on to it? It's like I always make the choice to let it go, and then I'll start swatching and be like, oh, but it's so pretty, and then it winds up staying. This is one of those palettes, and this is the NARS After Hours palette, and I'll show you what she looks like. She's a beautiful palette, but I haven't reached for this palette in ages, and even though I swatch these shades and I think they're so stunning, specifically this one right here, and that one right there, and that one, I don't use this, and I don't actually even love the formula all that much. That's what's so funny. What's so funny is that we can like look at palettes and the colors just speak to us, which is why we purchased it in the first place. But then, you know, you use the formula on your eye and in practice it just doesn't live up to the expectations, but you still find yourself attracted to the tones and the colors. So every time you open it up, you're like, ooh, it's so pretty. And then you forget that the formula is not the biz. And so for me, I'm not swatching this today. I really want to, because every time I open this up, I'm like, oh, specifically this shade right here. And honestly, maybe I'll try and pan, you know, like take this out and save this shade, but the rest of this can go. But even this shade, it's like, I have shades that are similar, that are in better formulas. I can probably duplicate this shade somewhere, and I might try, but I don't need to hold on to this palette anymore. It serves no purpose in my collection. Next up is this baby, and I don't think I showed this to you guys, and you want to know why I didn't show this to you guys in my collection video? Because I forgot I owned it. I had a drawer of makeup that I forgot I owned, guys. That's bad. That's bad. And there's a lot of stuff from that drawer in this little box here. So let me show you. This is the Stila Road Less Traveled. And this is one of those situations where you see a palette on sale and you're like, I'm intrigued, and it's on sale. Did I think about that palette when it wasn't on sale? No, but it's on sale now, so I'm intrigued. I'll show you what she looks like. This is the palette. It's pretty and all. The formulation isn't that great. Now you see this shade here. This shade is like a lighter version of the shade that I was just showing you guys in my After Hours palette. So again, that shade is not that unique, but I've never used this. Like literally never used this. I'm giving this away to someone who will get lots of joy out of it. I have never used it and I forgot that I owned it. So clearly it's not something that I actually need, you know? Next up is this, and you guys will remember that I had initially put this in my declutter from earlier in the year, and then I told you guys that I pulled it out, and I was like, ooh, maybe I can get some use out of it, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I swatched a couple of these, and I'm like, why did I keep this? It's so stupid. I'm not, just put it back, Amira. Put it back in the declutter. It's going back in the declutter, and it's staying this time. Yes, guys, I know you're like, what, girl? I'm going to give you guys a bit of a spoiler. There's actually a lot of Pat McGrath in here, and it's not because I dislike Pat. You know how I feel about Pat. She is bae. I love her. But I'm just trying to be a bit more selective in what I'm keeping, just in general. And this palette for me doesn't bring me joy. I'll show it to you. You remember this one. This is from the Bridgerton, the first Bridgerton. And it just doesn't bring me joy, guys. It just doesn't bring me joy. Let me do this because it's trying to focus on girlfriend's face. There we go. It just doesn't bring me joy. I've used it a few times and I'm just like, I would never use it again. Like I would be holding on to this just to have it. And I don't see the purpose in that any longer. So I'm getting rid of it. Next up is this palette from Odin's Eye. This is the Cat's Breath palette. And I talked about this, the Saga of Freya, I believe is the name of this one. Chapter 2 of the Cat with Golden Carriage. So this is one of their older collections, but again, it's trying to focus on her face. So I purchased this. I really wanted to try Odin's Eye and I couldn't decide on a color story. So I picked this one because it was one that I was attracted to. I thought, oh, I love this color story. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And then I purchased it and I realized why I loved it so much. It's because I already own it. I own it with the Kaleidos Turquoise Sci-Fi palette. You know that palette? Electro Turquoise from their Sci-Fi collection. Let's see if the light will pick this up a little bit better. But do you see that? Do you see the resemblance? Do you see the resemblance? It's such a similar palette to that one. And I actually prefer the formula of that one. And this survived my last declutter. And I said, hey, I'm going to think on it. If I don't use it by my next declutter, I will be decluttering it. I thought on it. I didn't reach for it once. So I'm going to be a woman of my word. And this will be getting decluttered. If you saw my review of this palette, you know that I was not a fan of the formulation and that I was really quite disappointed in the formulation because the Artist Couture, and this is the Artist Couture Supreme Mauves, by the way. The Artist Couture Supreme Nudes is one of my favorite neutral palettes in my collection. It is a stunning palette. This does not hold up to the quality of that palette. It does not hold up to it. The metallics are thin, they get hard pan really easily, the mattes are nothing to write home about. I just was not as impressed with this as I wanted and expected to be. I thought this was going to be the one because I just tried the Patrick Ta one and I was underwhelmed by that one. And I'm like, well, you know what? I really do like the Artist Couture formula. Let's try this one. Maybe this is a rosy palette that I can get behind. And I do feel like this one has way more dimension than the other one, than the Patrick Ta one. But that dimension doesn't really matter if the shades are unusable, you know? So she goes bye-bye. I'm not going to try not to blind you guys, but yes, guys, it's happening. It's happening. I told you guys I was not a fan of this palette. I was underwhelmed by it. And I was going through, and this was actually the first, this one and the Supreme Malls were the first palettes that popped into my head when I thought about doing a declutter. Even more than the ones that I just showed you, these popped into my head. So let me show you guys what it looks like. I'm sure you've seen this palette a ton of times. I just wasn't wild. I found the shimmers to be quite thin. One of the people in my comments, mentioned how they found these to be quite itchy on the eye, and I agree. This palette actually irritated my eyes, guys. It really did. The mattes and the shimmers. My eyes were not happy after I wore this palette. So that's one reason I'm going to declutter it, because I can't really wear something that my eyes get irritated from. And then on top of that, I don't feel like this is a palette worth being uncomfortable for, you know? Like sometimes there's things that are worth it and sometimes there's things that are not, and this just isn't for me. It's going bye-bye. Okay, so I decided to put all these together. Some of these are blushes, some of these are bronzers, kind of a bit of both, a bit of highlighter, bronzery thingies. So first up is this, and this is my Too Faced, my Baked Luminous Glow Bronzer in Sweet Tea. This is one of the first bronzers I ever purchased. I actually really like this bronzer, but it's old as Methuselah, and the tone is actually not right for me anymore. I don't know why I thought it was in the first place, but you know, it's just a bit too yellow. And it's, like I said, it's old, and I don't reach for it anymore, so it can go bye-bye. This bad boy, I've gone back and forth, and I think I talked about this in my last declutter, how I was on the fence about this one. And I do like this, I really do, but the formula is so hard to pick up. And I don't know if it has hard pan. You can see I've kind of scratched at it there. It's got a bit of hard pan, I think. Maybe not. But it's a beautiful tone. Like, I think this is a better tone for me than... what is that? What am I trying to show you guys? But it's a bit orange when she blended out. I don't know, guys. I just feel like it's time for this one to go bye-bye. The pineapple scent is there, but fading. So I don't even get the fun excitement of like opening this and getting a whiff of pineapple anymore. I have to like put it all the way up to my nose to get even a little sniff. So yeah, this one, I mean, the highlighter shade is beautiful, but it's nothing spectacularly unique. You know, it's a gold highlight. So yeah, it's time to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right. So many people hated these, and these are the Becca, Chloe and Malika Sweethearts Glow Letters. Oh, that was underwhelming. I forgot this was in there. Sorry. This is what they look like. People hated these, and I actually really liked them. I liked the subtle shimmer. I liked the fact that they were kind of like one of those really like, those bronzers or highlighters that kind of just made you look lit from within, you know? It kind of just gave you like really subtle glow, but it's glow nonetheless. It just wasn't like beaming, you know? But I've had these forever. This brand doesn't exist anymore. I haven't used these in ages. As cute as they are, and the fact that they're kind of a bit of makeup history, they're just taking up space at this point, so I'm gonna get rid of them. Next up is this Revlon Skin Lights, and I mentioned this in my birthday haul that I bought this in this tone, and I didn't realize it's just so orange, guys. It's so orange. I can't do anything with this on my skin. Look at that. It's just, this is for a deeper skin tone, and I think this will look amazing on a deeper skin tone, but on me, it's just too, it's too deep. It's too orange. It's mostly the orange factor. If this was a bit more neutral, I probably could get away with it, but it's just too orange for my skin tone, so I'm giving this away. Next up is, I'm getting rid of a Too Faced palette, guys, face palette, and I bought this one first. This is the first face palette I think I've ever purchased, and I love, does it still smell good? It smells like peaches. So this is the Sweet Peach Wet and Dry Face and Eye Palette, and I used this so much when I first got it, guys, but I have not reached for it in years. Look at it, it's beautiful. Look at these tones. But I just don't, these just aren't my vibe anymore, you know? Like these just aren't, let me swatch them on my, did I get all of them? Yeah, okay. Let me swatch them on my arm for you. So this is what they look like. They're pretty and all, but, and when I first got this, I was all about that life, but I'm just not all about that life anymore, you know? So she goes bye-bye. And last but not least, yes, guys, it's happening. You know what this is, and you know why if you follow my channel. If you do not, this is the Pat McGrath Divine Blush Duo in Paradise Glow. I don't see the point in keeping this, guys. I really don't. I'm going to give it to someone who can get some use out of it, who doesn't already own this shade, because I do. So this is a repeat shade. This is Paradise Venus. This shade doesn't really show up on my skin. When you blend them both together, they just look the same, and I just kind of feel like I wasted my money, and I really don't have a place for this in my collection because I'm not going to wear it, so it goes bye-bye. I almost forgot this bad boy. This is the List Beauty Aim High Multi-Use Liquid Highlighter in Fearless. I honestly forget that I own this, and this is the issue that I have with this is very similar to the issue that I have with the Skin Lights, is that it's just too dark for me. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's just too dark. It's too dark of a highlighter, and I tried to make it work a few times, and it just doesn't look good on my skin. So I can't even really form an opinion about this product because I can't really wear the shade. I really wish they had come out with maybe a couple more shades, because the one that I would have gotten that wasn't this one I felt was too light. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it looks different in like on the skin, but I got this one like taking a chance, and it was definitely a gamble that did not pay off. So this is getting decluttered. Okay, guys, so this is just like a hodgepodge of things, but let's go with the bronzers first. So I'm getting rid of the Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzer in Golden Tan, and I've talked about this when I did my cream bronzer ranking, or talking about all of my cream bronzers. And this one, let me see if I can turn the light on so you guys can see what I mean by this, but it's so light for me, but it's also too orange. Like, it's very orange, and I don't know who this will look good on, because even if you were of a lighter skin tone, I don't understand how your skin you would want an orange bronzer. Like, it's very creamy. I don't necessarily like the feeling of it on my fingers either. I feel like it's very I don't know, I don't feel like this would blend well. I know some people really love this product, but just the few times that I've used it, I haven't loved it, and I haven't reached for it since. I think I've used this maybe 3 times, and I just was not a fan. Same goes for the Danessa Myricks. This is the Power Bronzer in the shade Medium. This one is just sticky and weird to me. Like, can you see how it's just weird, and this tone, and it's kind of gummy, and the tone is very similar to the Anastasia one, and I just am not into that orange life. So again, I've used this, like, I think I've used this one maybe 3 times as well, and it just was not the biz. Next up is this powder foundation that I feel like cat hair gets on everything. This is the powder foundation that I talked about in my last declutter. I said if I didn't use this by my next declutter, I was going to declutter it. I did not use it. It still looks exactly the same. So I'm going to be a woman of my word, and I'm going to declutter it. This I talked about in my blush tag video, where I talked about my, I think this was this most overrated? I think this is, I put this under overrated. This is a blush that I love the tone, but I don't love the formula on me. It's very dewy, which in the wintertime when I first started using this was actually quite lovely, but the pigment is very light, and I can build it up, but this fades on me so much that it's like I put it on and 2 hours later it's just not there anymore. And for me, that kind of defeats the purpose. Like, I would like my makeup to last more than 2 hours on my face. So this one is going to go away, and this is the shade Terracotta. Concealers! All right, so I've got 4 concealers here that I'm getting rid of. So first up is my Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime. Now, I have this in 2 shades. This is M17, and it's just too deep for me, and I've had it a while, and I haven't been using it, so I just think it's probably expired, and I probably just need to get rid of it. I think my other one's probably expired too, but I'm gonna keep using that one because they're expensive, and I really like that tone, and I really like the formula. This is one of my favorite concealers. So yes, I am going to get rid of M17, which is a little too dark, and keep M15. Next up, I have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I actually really like, this is the satin finish. I really like this formula. I just don't like this shade on me. I need something that's a bit less yellow on me. I didn't do a great job picking my shades when I did my e.l.f. video. I picked a foundation that was too dark and a concealer that was too yellow, and it kind of balanced out when I put the two together, but I would rather just have like a shade that I don't have to use other things with to make work, you know? So I would purchase this again, just in a different shade, but it's getting decluttered in this shade. Same goes for my NARS Radiant Creamy. This is in Sucre d'Orge. I don't know what I was thinking buying this one. It is in medium dark 1.5, and it's just too orange. It says Sucre d'Orge, so you know, it's just very orange on me. And so I'm gonna declutter it. But I do have this in the shade Caramel, I think, which is still a little like a half a shade too dark, but it works. This one is just too orange. I have the Fenty Beauty Bright Fix in the shade Peach. And I mentioned this in my declutter earlier this year that I said if I didn't use this, if I didn't like reach for it and really form an opinion, I was just going to declutter it. This is the peach tone. The peach is meant to sort of cancel out darkness, which it does well. My issue with this is I don't feel like this layers well. I don't think it layers well on itself, and I don't think it layers well under other things. And I found that when I was layering it on top of itself, it started to like lift, and I was getting patchiness, and I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. So it goes bye-bye. Alright guys, so this is everything that I am decluttering as far as foundations and complexion products. It's a lot, right? OMG, I was shocked too. So let's talk about this that I had in that drawer that I forgot about. I bought this for my body, and I tried it on my face as well because it's face and body makeup, and this shade range is just weird. I also find the formulation of this weird. It's just very like, it wants to be velvety, but instead it just feels kind of dry and weird. I wasn't a fan, and I think I used this maybe twice, and there's just no point because the shade is off and the formulation isn't my fave. This bad boy I'm getting rid of because I think I told you guys how I struggled to find a shade match in this, and this is still not my shade. I feel like 16 is a little too orange for me. 15 was too light and 17 was too dark. I need something like right. I just need another one like a 16.5 or like a yeah, a 16.5. That would have been great with some neutral undertones. But I'm also getting rid of this because I'm at a point where I want my complexion products to be stuff that I'm really excited about and that I want to reach for. And I sort of had a reckoning with my foundation collection. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do a video about that where I talk about foundation and shade matches and how hard it is to find shade matches when you're a medium deep gal such as myself. If that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments down below, but that's something that I've been sort of working on in my head and sort of making a few notes on because it's a bit of a struggle, and I have just sort of decided that I'm not willing to have products in my collection that I have to work with or to tweak to get to work. And this one I have to with the shade, but also it's not a formula that I'm in love with. Like I said in my Pat McGrath product ranking, this is a decent foundation. It's not a bad foundation, but I don't think it's anything spectacular that it's like right home to your mama about, you know? So I just made the choice to like, well, it's just taking up space at this point because I haven't reached for it in ages because of the shade and because I'm just not excited by it. So I'm getting rid of that. Next up is the much too dark, and I think it's actually darkened since I got it. Now it is in frosted packaging, so let me see if I can open this. So it's not quite as dark as it looks, but let's make sure about that. So as you can see, it's not quite as dark as it looks in the thing. This is a mess though, it's like leaking, but it's still too dark for me on my face, especially in like the winter, which is when I bought this. Like on my hand now, it looks fine because I have tan. My hands are quite tan, but this is not, my hands are not the same shade as my face. My hands are darker than my face. So this is not going to work for me. But I did like the formula. I will tell you that. I did really enjoy the formula. I thought the formula was lovely, but the shade is not the biz. All right. I've got both of my Fenty foundations. So I've got the Easy Drop Blurring Skin Tint. I've talked about how I'm not a fan of this. And part of that is the shade. I've had such a journey trying to find the right shade in this, and it just hasn't been working. And then I've, after a while, a couple of times of using it, I was like, you know, I don't even know if I care about getting this in the right shade because I don't think I love this formula all that much. Like, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I just don't think it's like amazing. And then this is my Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. And this one, I used to love this foundation. And I don't think it's a bad foundation. I think it's an actually really good foundation. It's just not a foundation for me anymore. Does that make sense? You know how your tastes change? This one says hydrating. It's not that hydrating. I would just say it's just a more satin finish than the matte Pro Filter foundation, which is very flat. And that one, I actually absolutely hated that foundation. I know people raved about that, but I was an oily skin girl and I could not get that foundation to work for me. This one actually worked quite well. So this is what I was using instead of the Pro Filter matte. And the last time I used this, I hated the way it looked on my skin. I hated the way it sat. I don't think it lasted on me. And I just think it's because my skin has changed quite a bit. I went on tretinoin last year. I'm a little bit older. So all of those things are factored into me sort of reassessing how certain foundations sit on my skin. And I didn't enjoy the way this one sat last time I used it. So, or the last few times rather. So it's going to go bye-bye. My memory card's about to run out, so we're going to do this fast. I've used this maybe, I want to say 3 or 4 times now, and I cannot get this to work for me. It doesn't last on my skin. I don't like the way it sits on my skin. The shade match is fine. It's just not a foundation that I am in love with, and I don't see myself using this again. I've got my Merit, I forget if this is the Perfecting Complexion Stick in Khaki. It's just too yellow. It's way too yellow, guys. It's like hella yellow. It's too yellow. It's too light. I didn't like the way it sat. I don't really like stick foundations, and this kind of like reminded me why I didn't like stick foundations. My Little Baby Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade medium 4.5. This is too light for me. The formula is okay. I'm really interested in trying the e.l.f. one because I think I would like that a little bit more. But for me, this is not I put this in my overrated makeup products video, and I stand by that. And the shade is not the right shade for me. And I don't see myself repurchasing this in the mini or in the full size. This, I still haven't used enough, guys. I keep saying, oh, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. And then I've used it twice and I haven't picked it up a ton. The shade is a little bit yellow for me. But as you can see there, like, yeah, it's just, it's one of those products that I forget that I own. And the fact that I purchased it and I've used it twice and I wasn't excited by it when I used it, like I wasn't wowed by it. I thought it was okay. And the fact that I forgot that I owned it, a lot of the times that I'm doing my foundation, I'd be like, oh yeah, I should use that. It's just a sign that it needs to go. You know, it can go. Okay, let's do lip products. So, this bad boy, I'm deciding between these two, and I believe I decluttered this one and then took it back. And I was keeping it, trying to decide if I wanted to keep this one. And this is the one from Fashion Fair. This is their shade Koi. And I think it's really pretty, but I don't know if it's a shade that I'm actually going to wear a ton. And then this one is the one from Oma Beauty, and it is the shade Peaches and Akeem. This one, it's so light. It's so light. I don't feel like it does anything on my, it's like a gloss basically. It's a gloss. And I have glosses that I like more than this. And even though this one smells yummy, like it does smell really good. And it's pretty. It's got this pretty embossing on it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Come on camera, do your thing. I don't even know if you guys can see that. It's just, I don't wear this. And so I was deciding between these two, and I think I'm going to stick with this one. And again, this one is still on the chopping block. I'm going to have to see if I'm actually going to use this. If I don't use it by the next declutter, it goes bye-bye. Then I have these bad boys. So first up, let's talk about this one. When I did my e.l.f. video, my full face of e.l.f. video, I said that I didn't really think I was going to use the darker tone of this, the one that's sort of like the black honey dupe, the Clinique black honey dupe. I said, I don't know if I'm going to use it. It's kind of dark and I have pigment on my lip line, so it's going to look weird. And I think this one would just work better for me. I was so wrong, guys. I've been using that one, the one that's like the black honey dupe, all the time. I've been wearing it a ton this summer, and I haven't touched this one once. And I tried it again. I tried it on a couple of days ago, and I actually hated the way it looked at me. I just think it's a little too yellow in tone on me, on my lips anyway. It's very sheer, like you can barely see it there. But on my lips, it just kind of gives my lips like a weird yellow cast. And so this one is going away, but I'm keeping the other one. It's actually in my purse right now because I use it that much. Next up is my Artist Couture. Now let's talk about my Artist Couture lipsticks because I'm really sad about them. So the one that I had, the other one that I had, I think it was, I had Power Play. This is Power Play, and I forget what the other one was. It was the other neutral tone. That one broke. It literally broke in half, and I had to throw it away. I was devastated. This one is intact. I love the shade. I swatched it the other day when I was decluttering, and I was like, oh, this shade, the shade, the shade. Look at that. But I don't know, guys, this smells like it could be going bad. And I don't know if it's the scent of the lipstick because it does have a candy scent, but something just smells a little wrong. So I think I'm going to get rid of this, which makes me sad because it lets me know that these don't last very long. Like I didn't have these for very long before they started to, and the other one actually had that smell as well. So I feel like these went bad and they weren't such a stable formula because I had bloom on them. And I had asked you guys in the comments, like, is that something that I need to be worried about? Should I toss it? And someone said, oh, it's just because of the temperature change. And I'm like, oh, okay. But when lipsticks are doing that, it's because the formula isn't that stable. And so for me, the fact that I've had these for not very long at all, and I've had other lipsticks that I've had for far longer that are perfectly fine, lets me know that this is like time to go. And I don't know if I repurchase this because of that. This was in my Pat McGrath ranking video, and it was pretty low. And in that video, after talking about this, in my head, I was like, I should just declutter this. And so I am. This is her liquid lipstick in the shade Spellbound. If you watch my ranking video, you know how I feel about this and why I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, no. Next up, I have this bad boy, and I wore this in a video recently. And guys, this formula, first of all, let me see if I can even open this thing. It's got this little clicky thing on the top. It's actually kind of cool, but it's actually hard to get into. This color is stunning. This formula is like, I don't know if I got an old one or what, but I'm going to look at this. I don't know if you guys can see this. Look how this is applying to my, do you see that? I think this is old. I think they sold me an old lipstick and I didn't realize it at the time, but look at that. This has to go. I'm upset. But at the same time, I got it on sale and it just is what it is. And I'm not going to use something that's doing that, you know? So next up, I have lip glosses. This one I've just had forever and I forgot about it. And it was stuck in an old purse and I don't think it's any good anymore. So I'm just going to toss it. It's the Innisfree Lip Balm in Mint Earl Grey. These are the two of my SPF lip products that I absolutely despise. This tastes like poison. This makes your lips white and ashy and dry. Why can't they formulate lip products with SPF in them that do not do this? Someone let me know. I then have this little Ilia lip oil. I think this is the lip oil in Only You. Yeah, balmy gloss tinted lip oil. It's just not a shade for me. It makes my lips look chalky. And then this is my Lime Crime Wet Cherry Gloss in Naked Cherry. I love this formula. The cherry scent, guys, is like cherry NyQuil. Like, you have to get used to it. It's so strong. And I thought I was not going to be able to use these products. My Bitter Cherry, which was my favorite, I emptied that out and then it kind of expired and I was left with this one. And this one I just don't wear as much and I've had it forever. So I've just decided to get rid of it. Yeah. You heard that sound? Oh, that's so, I hate it when glosses do that. Yeah, that's so gross. Ew. All right. Decided to bring everything out. This is the last of everything. And these are all eye products like mascaras and liners and things like that. So, and brow products. So let's start with this Tarte single shadow that I bought, and I was so excited to use this, and I think I got to use it all of once before it dried out. And this is the Tarte Clay Pot in Margarita. I'll show you what it looks like. Stiff as a board. I've tried reviving it to no avail. I do not have any Duraliner, or what do they call it? Is that what it's called? Duraline? I don't have any of that. So, and I'm not going to buy that just to revive this one product. I don't see the point in that. So it makes me sad, but I'm going to get rid of it. I am getting rid of, guys. It's happening. Remember I told you how I was trying to pan this and then I had to stop using it because it just wasn't working for my eyes. And look how much is left. I think I did a good job. You can literally see the bottom of the pot. I think we're done. I think MAC Paint Pot and Laying Low and I have come to the mutual decision to separate. This powder just doesn't, it's just not the biz for my skin anymore. I tried using it recently. I didn't like it. I hated it actually on my skin. I used to love this on my skin. Not so much anymore. So it goes bye-bye. This is my Patrick Ta Shaping Wax in Clear. I was trying to get this product to work for me and get the bushy brow effect. And I've used a ton of it, but not enough to like warrant keeping it because I don't reach for it anymore. And this is officially the last Patrick Ta product in my collection. So, which means I no longer have any in my collection. So, all of these mascaras. All right. So, I have my Lancome Cils Booster, which is like a primer lash conditioner. I prefer the Dior one. This one was okay. I used this one up. It's time for it to go, but I recommend the Dior one over this. My Dark Star mascara, it's just time. I love this mascara though. I think it's a great mascara. Same goes for my Merit Clean Lash. I really want to keep this. This is Clean Lash in Perfect Black, and it's such a good mascara, guys. It's one of those that like grows on you, you know? When I first tried this, I was so underwhelmed, and then by the end of it, I was reaching for it all the time. But I've had it a while. I don't like using really old mascaras on my eyes, so it's gotta go, and I'm sad about it. I have these two ColourPop mascaras that I completely forgot I owned because it was in that drawer with all the forgotten makeup. These are old as hell and they just need to go. So they go. And then this Lime Crime Liner is separated, and I have other ones that I, again, forgot about. And I was so excited to find them. But this one is just not, it's not, I feel like it's separated and it's old. And the other ones look fine. And this is the only one doing this. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I then have this Maybelline Color Strike Powder Shadow. This thing is interesting. It's not bad. It's just something that I think is a little fussy. It's a powder that you apply like that. But I have products that I can use that are in this shade that I like more than this. And then finally, this is the product that was at the bottom of my Pat McGrath ranking, and it is her liquid liner. And I'm doing it, guys. I'm getting rid of it. It doesn't serve a purpose. I hate it. I just need to get rid of it. So, all right, guys. So that is everything. And that was a lot. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of this declutter? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.